Good evening, all. So we can commence today's session. We were discussing about employment income, how this employment income is considered for the taxation under Sri Lankan tax law, right? Uh, Under this topic, we have already discussed certain points. Now, what we have to do is we have to continue that session further ahead. Okay, we'll go through our PowerPoint presentation. So under that employment income, we discuss certain cash benefits as well as non-cash benefits enjoyed by a particular employee is taxable. Under those non-cash benefits, we discuss how housing benefit is considered under Sri Lankan tax law. So under that housing benefits, I told you there are three types of houses. The one is houses or particular house situated in the rated areas. ඒ කියන්නේ වරිපණන් ගෙවන ප්‍රදේශයක තියෙන නිවාස. And the second one is a house situated in unrated areas. And the third one is estate bungalows. So here I told you that the 12.5% of the monthly remuneration of that particular employee is considered as housing benefit if that particular house is situated in rated area. Likewise, if the house is situated in unrated areas, the housing benefit is 10% of the monthly remuneration. So if it is an estate bungalow, the monthly 7.5% of the monthly remuneration can be considered as housing benefit. So those things we have already discussed in our last session, and we did some calculations. So you can see these calculations. We discussed or we completed this part earlier. Now I am not going to repeat this again, right? Now I try to move another part of the housing benefits. So you very clearly read this. Where the employer paid or reimbursed any expense connected with the house, any expense connected with the house or an apartment occupied by the employee. So what it mean by the occupied? In Sarala Sinhala Lagino. වාසය කරනවා කියන එකනේ කියන්නේ occupied කියලා. මොහොතකට හිතන්න if particular employee lives in a house or an apartment and the value of the benefit shall be the actual expense paid or reimbursed by the employer. So your name is Kamal. You just assume that your name is Kamal. Kamal is working in XYZ company, but Kamal lives in an apartment or a house in a rent basis. The monthly rent amount of that particular house is 50,000. It means Kamal paid this rent expense monthly. The rent expense is 50,000 as I told you earlier. Now, thereafter that 50,000 reimbursed to Kamal by his company. So in such a scenario, the monthly rent expense is 50,000. So 50,000 is into 12, that is 600,000 or something. So you just 50,000 multiply by 12. So if we multiply 50,000 into 12, the amount is 600,000. So 600,000 is the amount which is taxable under employment income. So that is the housing benefit. This can be in other way also. That is, you are not going to pay any amount to your house owner or a landlord. On behalf of you, your company directly pay this amount to that particular house lord, or in other words, this is a house owner. In such a case also, the actual amount paid by employer on behalf of you is considered as housing benefit. Right. මම හිතනවා පුතේ මේක තේරෙන්නේ නැති කියලා. ඔයා ඉන්නවා ගෙදරක, ගෙදර මාසේ කුලිය 50,000යි. එක්කෝ ඔයා වෙනුවෙන් ඒ 50,000 ඔයාගේ කම්පැනිය නිවසේ අයිතිකාරයට ගෙවනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයා නිවසේ අයිතිකාරයට 50,000 ගෙවලා ඒක සමාගමෙන් ප්‍රතිපූර්ණය කරගන්නවා. ඔන්න ඔය කියන අවස්ථාවේදී 50,000 ඒවත් 12 ලක්ෂ 6ක් තමයි අපි සලකන්නේ housing benefit එක විදිහට බදු කරණය යටතේ. Right. You can further understand this by going through this small sum. Here you see that Samali lives in a rent-free house provided by the employer. The employer paid a monthly rent of rupees 50,000 to the landlord. It means on behalf of Samali, her company is paid that 50,000 to landlord. What is the non-cash benefit of the residence provided by the employer for Samali? Here it's very simple. Monthly rent is 50,000. Annual rent reimbursed 50,000 into 12. So in this case, 600,000 is the housing benefit. Okay. Then we can move to another step ahead. That is share benefits. So what it mean by the share benefit? Share benefit mean your company. It means you are working in a particular company. Just assume that you are working in ABC PLC. So ABC PLC offers some shares to you just below the market rate. Just below the market rate. So shall we read this one? Value of any benefits accruing to any employee of an employer from the allotment of any share or awarding an option to acquire any share to such employee means the excess, if any, of the market value of such share at the time allotted under an employee share scheme, reduced by the employee's contribution for the shares as the case may be. So you might not understand what it says. A very, very lengthy sentence. But if we go through word by word or a phrase by phrase, you can very clearly get this understand. I'll explain it to you in very clear manner. So what it mean by the allotment? In your A level, you learn that විභජනය, කොටස් විභජනය කරන. ඒ කියන්නේ allotment කියන එක තමයි. කොටස් වල අයිතිය දෙනවා කියන එක. Then you just assume that your company offer 1,000 shares to you, 10 rupee each. ඔයා වැඩ කරන company, ඒ වැඩ කරන companyම shares ඔයාට දෙනවා. එක share එකක් රුපියල් 10 ගානේ, 10 rupee each. Right? You offer 1,000 shares. It means you have to pay 1,000 into 10, 10,000 rupees. So employee's contribution is 10,000. Your contribution is 10,000. But the market value of that particular share is rupees 12. So 12 into 1,000, 12,000. If you are not an employee of that particular company, if you are going to buy this share from the share market, you have to pay 12,000. But in this case, you have to pay only 10,000. So the gap between the market price and the offer price, it means the 12,000 and the 10,000 is the benefits that you are going to enjoy. So that 2,000 is taxable under employment income. It says share benefit. So that's why under this bracket, it's very clearly mentioned that market value of shares at the time of allotment minus employees' contribution. We can understand this by go through this simple example. Here, ABC PLC allotted rupees 100,000 shares at rupees 10 to their employees. So offer price is rupees 10 under the employee share optioning scheme. The market value of the share is rupees 12. So here you can understand the market value is 12, but the offer price is 10. So you can enjoy 2 rupees benefits per each share. So Mrs. Fernando is an employee of the company and received 1,000 shares under this scheme. Is it becoming a part of his, this should be her employment income? Is it becoming a part of her employment income? The answer is yes. Why? The Mrs. Fernando enjoying 2 rupee benefit for each share. So if so, what is not his, what is her employment income? Her employment income on shares allotted through the scheme should be calculated as follows. It's very simple. Market value of shares at the time of allotment, that is 12 into 1000, 12,000, minus employees' contribution. Employees' contribution means that of a price. So as an employee, you have to pay 10 into 1000, that is 10,000. So the gap between this 12,000 and 10,000, answer is 2,000. This 2,000 amount is considered as share benefit. මම හිතනවා මම කියන කාරණේ තේරෙනවයි කියලා. මේ දෙන shares වල market price එක වෙන්නේ රුපියල් 12යි. හැබැයි ඔයාට මේක හම්බ වෙනවා රුපියල් 10 ගාන. එහෙනම් 12 ගානේ shares 1000යි කියලා කියන්නේ ඔය shares ලක්ෂය හැරි whatever ඒ කියන ගාන. ඒකෙන් අපි අඩු කළොත් ඇත්තටම ඔයාට හම්බෙන්නේ 10 ගානේ නා. ඒ හම්බෙන ගාන ඒක තමයි employee ගේ contribution එක. market price එකෙන් employee ගේ contribution එක අඩු කළාට පස්සේ amount එකට අපි කියනවා share benefits කියලා. Right. Now our third question, if the company issued shares free of charge, it means company offer those shares without charging a single cent. සත්‍යයක් තය කරගන්නේ නැතුව කොටස් ටික වාට නිකන් දෙනවා පිනට දෙනවා. What would be Mrs. Fernando's employment income? It's very simple. Market value of the shares at the time of allotment විභජනය කරන අවස්ථාවේදී වෙළඳපොළ වටිනාකම වෙන්නේ 12 into 1000, 12,000 minus the employee's contribution. So Mrs. Fernando's contribution is nothing. She is not going to pay at least a single rupee. This shares offered to her on free of charge. So in such a scenario, the employment benefit is 12,000 rupees. So I believe that this is, you can understand. So if there is any issue, so if there is any problem, you can directly contact me. So shall we go ahead? Now, other benefits. So in addition to the benefits that we discussed so far, there are other benefits that particular employee can enjoy. Now, we are going to discuss how these things are going to be considered in taxation. The first one is provision of hotel facilities for expatriates. Right. The 100% of the cost. Right. If hotel is provided, the 100% of the cost can be considered as an house employee benefit. The 50% of the difference between then the loans or concessionary rate, loans on concessionary rate. The second one is, so you can see here, the color is different. The first one is this one, the white color one, and the second one under this blue or ash color one. Loans on concessionary rate. So you know that some employees can obtain loan facilities from the employer on concessionary rate. Concessionary in the sense, what you call that? Sahanadayi polyanupa. Sahanadayi polyanupa. So how it is taxable? 50% of the difference between the concessionary rate and the market rate. Concessionary rate and the market rate. And the market rate is specified annually by Commissioner General of Inland Revenue. Here, CGIR means the Commissioner General of Inland Revenue. Sri Lanka ආදායම් පත් කොමසාරිස්වරයා කියන market value එකයි අපිට මේ loan එක හම්බෙන concessionary rate එකයි අතර gap එක into 50% we are considering as benefit. Then the provisions of servant etc. අපිට සේවකයෝ දෙනවා නම් 100% of the cost. Provision of electricity and gas 100% of the cost. Provision of free meals 100% of the cost. The payment of dental, medical or health insurance. This is very much important. In several scenarios, this one is tested in examination papers. The payment of dental and medical or health insurance. the payment or reimbursement of the dental, medical, or health insurance expense 100% of the cost. අපි වෙනුවෙන් අපේ වෛද්‍ය බිල එහෙම නැත්නම් හෙල්ත් ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එක සෞඛ්‍ය රක්ෂණ එක ප්‍රීමියම් එකක් දරනවා නම් අපේ කම්පැනි එක ඒ කොස්ට් එක 100% බද්දට යනත් යනවා. නමුත් there is a very special thing. So under red color it is mentioned where the benefit is not available to all full-time employees in equal terms. What is that? Where the benefit is not available to all full-time employees in equal terms. දැන් ඔය සමහර සමාගම් වල තියෙනවා සමාගමේ සේවකයෝ වෙනුවෙන් සමාගම ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එකක් අරගෙන තියෙනවා. එතකොට ෆුල් ටයිම් එම්ප්ලොයිස්ලා හැමෝටම මේ බෙනිෆිට් එක හම්බ වෙනවා. අන්න ඒ වගේ වෙලාවක ඔයාගේ මෙඩිකල් බිල් එක හරි හෙල්ත් ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එක හරි ඩෙන්ටල් මෙඩිකල් whatever the payment එක කම්පැනි දරුවොත් ඒ දරන amount එක නෙවෙයි ඈ. ඒ දරන amount එක බද්දට යටත් වෙන්නේ. මේ කියන්නේ එහෙම පොදු වැඩසටහනක් යටතේ නෙවෙයි. පොදුවේ හැමෝම යටත් වෙන වැඩසටහනක් යටතේ නෙමෙයි. එහෙම නැතුව සාමාන්‍ය අවස්ථාවකදී වාගේ මෙඩිකල් බිල් එකක්, හෙල්ත් ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එකක්, ඩෙන්ටල් whatever the health related expense එකක් කම්පැනි දරනවා. ඒ දරන එක්ස්පෙන්ස් එක 100% බද්දට යටත් ඒක ඔයාගේ පැත්තෙන් ඔයාට බෙනිෆිට් එකක් නිසා. Right. Then payment of telephone bills and annual charges. So you know that most of companies, they are paying their employees telephone bills. So in such a scenario, the 50% of such telephone bills can be, the 50% of the cost of that particular telephone bill is considered as benefit or employment benefit for the taxation. Then the next one, air tickets, other than the official purpose. So you know that your employer might provide you air ticket. So in two scenarios, the one is your employer might provide you an air ticket for official tour. So official tours are official. Those cannot be considered as employment benefits. But other than the official tours, if that particular employer provided some air tickets, those 100% of the cost of those air tickets are liable for the taxation. Then next one, payment of tax. So amount of tax paid is considered as cost. Right. Then we can move to next one. Okay. Now, shall we go ahead? We can move to next slide. Here, deduction. No expenses are deductible in ascertaining employment income in terms of Section 10. Accordingly, the gross values have been taken for the tax computation. I can't explain this thing now, but you can get very clear idea while we are doing certain sums, what this means. So until then, we have to wait. Right. So the retirement benefit, this is also a very important area. So you know that the retirement is if that particular employee working several years under particular employer and thereafter he is going to leave from that particular company, and in such a circumstances he may receive certain benefits. How those things are considered under taxation. So you read this. Profit from employment includes certain lump sum receipt of an employee at retirement. So in red color, it is mentioned that the lump sum receipts. So what it means by the lump sum receipts? Here, lump sum receipts mean the things that you received at once. ඒ කියන්නේ පුතා සේවය අතහැරලා යද්දී රිටයර් වෙද්දී ඔයාට එකපාර ලැබෙන දේවල්. වැරදි විදිහට ඔළුවට ගන්න එපා. ආණ්ඩුවේ කම්කරුවක වැඩ කරන කෙනෙකුට ගෙදර ගිහිල්ලා රිටයර් වුණාට පස්සේ මාසෙ ගානේ ලැබෙනවනේ පෙන්ෂන් එක. ඒක නෙමෙයි මේ කියන්නේ. right? මේ කියන්නේ රිටයර් වෙන වෙලාවේදී එක වතාවේ gediya පිටින් ලම්සම් gediya පිටින් ලැබෙන දේවල් කොහොමද ටැක්ස් වෙන්නේ කියන එක. These receipts are profits for the year of assessment in which they received for the loss of profits. That sentence also very important. Now you know that particular employee working at around 55 years or 60 years. අවුරුදු 55ක් 60ක් වැඩ කරලා තියෙනවා. අද රස්සාවෙන් එළියට යනවා එළියට යන ගමන් යද්දී එයාට එකපාර ලම්සම් amount එකක් ලොකු ගාණක් හම්බෙනවා. ඒ හම්බෙන ගාණ ටැක්ස් වෙන්නේ කොයි වෙලාවේද? The place where he received that. I mean, the place in the sense, the time where he received those things. So you again read this sentence. These receipts are profit for the year of assessment in which they received. Year of assessment කියන්නේ taxer වර්ෂය කියන එකනේ. කුමන taxer වර්ෂයේද? In which they received for the loss of profits. මේ සේවය හැරයද්දී මේවා ලැබෙන අවුරුද්දේදී තමයි බද්දට යනක් තියෙන්නේ. Now you go ahead. The retirement benefits include retiring gratuity. Gratuity, the single word is පාරිතෝෂිකය. විශ්‍රාම පාරිතෝෂිකය. Retiring gratuity. එකපාර ලැබෙනවා. Commuted gratuity. Commuted gratuity means කියනවා දායකත්ව පාරිතෝෂිකය. කියන්නේ එක වතාවේ ලැබෙන එක. Commuted payment එක. Compensation for loss of office or employment. Compensation කියන්නේ නිකන් වන්දි වගේ හම්බෙන දේවල්. For the loss of office or employment. දැන් අපි දන්නවා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය ප්‍රතිව්‍යුහගත කරලා සමාගම් 6කට කැඩුවා. කැමති එම්ප්ලොයින් ආට දුන්නා මේ VRS එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ voluntary retirement scheme එකක් දුන්නා. එකපාර ගාණක් අරන් ගෙදර ගිහින්. අන්න ඒ වගේ දේවල්. ඒවට කියනවා compensation for loss of office. Withdrawal from employees trust fund. This is very important point. You know that employee provident fund EPF සේවක අර්ථ සාධක අරමුදල. And there is another one, employee trust fund, Seva Niyuktiyange Bara Ramudal. So from your A level, you know that this employee trust fund, ETF, Seva Niyuktiyange Bara Ramudal, 3% of employee salary should pay by employer for this fund. Normally, employees are not contributed for ETF. So in that case, if you receive ETF amount at once, the amount that you receive in the year of assessment you receive, these ETF are taxable. Okay. The treatment of retirement benefit or a lump sum receipts. You can see it. Right. Under that retiring gratuity, I discuss this commuted pension, withdrawal from approved or regulated provident fund are exempt. Exempt can about that. But the second one, the fourth one, withdrawal from ETF taxable. Right? This is a very important point. ETF එකකින් සෙවන් යුක්තියන්ගේ බාර අරමුදලින් withdraw කරලා සල්ලි ලැබෙන වෙලාවෙ ඒක tax වෙනවා. But employee provident fund එකකින් ඒ කියන්නේ සේවක අර්ථසාධක අරමුදලකින් or approved or regulated provident fund එකකින් සල්ලි ආපහු ගද්දි ඒක tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හරි. ඕගොල්ලෝ කිය EPF එක නම් දන්නවා මොකද්ද මේ approved or regulated provident fund කියලා කියන්නේ. පොතේ approved or regulated provident fund කියන්නේ සමහර ආයතන දැන් CTB එකේ තියෙන. ශ්‍රී ලංකා යුනිවර්සිටි ලෙක්චරර්ස් ලාට තියෙනවා. සමහර බැංක්ස් වල තියෙනවා. එව්වා අපි ඔය කියන සේවක අර්ථසාධක අරමුදල නෙමෙයි. ඒගොල්ලෝ විසින් විශේෂයෙන් කම්කරු කාර්යාලයේ අවසරය ඇතිව පවත්වා ගන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕන් වෙච්ච provident fund එකක්. අන්න ඒ කියන provident fund වලින් සල්ලි ආපහු ගද්දී tax වෙන්නේ exempt. But ETF එකෙන් ගද්දී tax වෙනවා. However, investment income accumulated after 1st April 1987 is exempt. ETF එක taxable වුණා. ETF amount එකට උපයන investment income එක. Investment income කියන්නේ පොලිය. ETF එකට පොලියක් හම්බ වෙනවනේ. ඒ පොලිය 1987 අප්‍රේල් 1 වෙනිදාන් පස්සේ පොලී කොටස නිදහස්. හරි. එතකොට අර ප්‍රාර්ථනා කොටස විදිහට ලැබෙන 103 ටැක්ස් වෙනවා. We can discuss those things further when we are doing when we are doing questions. Sums received as compensation for a loss of office or employment. I think we discussed this. සේවය අතහැරලා යද්දී හම්බෙන දේවල්. බජට් යටත්. We can move to next sum. Next slides. Treatment on loss of office. Compensation is taxed at a lower rate if the employer has made such payment in accordance with a scheme which is uniformly applicable to all his employees. All right. This compensation or a 1B වගේ දේවල් tax වෙන lower rate එක යටතේ. In which situation? If the employer has made such payment in accordance with the scheme which is uniformly applicable to all his employees. Uniformly applicable mean ඒ කියන්නේ හැමෝටම එකම විදියට applicable වෙනවා නම් ඒ වෙනුවෙන් lower rates තමයි භාවිතා කරන්නේ. අපි ඒක ගානකදී බලමු. Where the employer does not have a uniformly applicable scheme. අන්න හැමෝටම පොදු scheme එකක් නැත්නම් for the payment of compensation for a loss of offices should be taxed at normal rate. ඒකත් හරි වැදගත්. ඒතර මේ compensation of loss of office සේවය අතහැර යෑමේදී හම්බෙන දීවන සාමාන්‍යයෙන් in normal circumstances if it is uniformly applicable to all employees, those are taxable on lower rates. But if it is not uniformly applicable to all employees, then those benefits are taxable under normal rates. We can further discuss those things while we are doing questions. All right. Now you can say, what is this concessionary or a lower tax rates? Shall we read this? Concessionary tax rates apply to sums paid to an employee on cessation of employment. සේවය නවත්තද්දී when the scheme is uniformly applicable to all employees by all employees. I discussed. මේක හැමෝටම සමානව බලපවත්නා විදිහට ගෙවන එකක් නා. By way of compensation, committed pension, retirement gratuity, and contribution to the ETF, accumulated employers' contribution to an approved or regulated provident fund when withdrawn is exempt from tax. ඒකත් අපි කිව්වා. අර provident fund එක tax එකෙන් exempt වෙනවා කියලා. අනිත් ඒවා tax වෙනවා. මේ බලන්න. If the retirement benefit is first 10 million, tax rate is nil. Again, tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. පළවෙනි 10 million වෙනකම්ම tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. On the next 10 million, ඒ කියන්නේ 10 million ඉඳන් 20 million වෙනකම් කොටසට 6% tax වෙනවා. balance part එකට 12% tax වෙනවා. මේවා තමයි concessionary rates කියලා කියන්නේ. පළවෙනි 10 million වලට tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. The second 10 million tax වෙනවා 6%. balance part is taxable under 12%. Right. Now we can get good idea by discussing this example. Mr. Gunasinghe was an employee and he retired from his employment on 31st March 2025. As a retirement benefit, he gets the following. Gratuity 6 million. So you can understand that these are lump sum payment. එකවර ලැබෙන දේවල්. Gratuity amount 6 million. From Employee Provident Fund, EPF, 10 million. Now you know that. The EPF amount exempt. Exempt කියන්නේ බද්දට යටත් වෙන්නේ. From Employee Trust Fund of rupees 5 million. Definitely taxable. Taxable. This includes the investment income of rupees 800,000. So you know that within this 5 million, 800,000 investment income. Investment income means interest part of that ETF. So I told you that this interest part also exempted from 1st April 1987, which was derived after the 1st of April 1987. So if that particular employee earned those interest income, or in other words, investment income under ETF after 1st of April 1987, that's the interest part, or in other words, investment income part, exempt. So I believe that this 800,000 is exempted. So what will be the liable retirement benefits? Calculate the income tax liability on retirement benefits fund. So shall we go through one by one? Gratuity. So you remember that the gratuity amount is 6 million. I told you that this is a lump sum payment and taxable. Then EPF, Employee Provident Fund. So you know that the Employee Provident Fund or any approved Provident Fund payment exempted, right? So it is explained very clearly here. Amount paid in retirement from any Provident Fund approved by the Commissioner General of Internal Revenue is exempted, right? EPFO, any approved Provident Fund exempted. Then the ETF amount. So you know that ETF is taxable. But if this ETF includes some investment income earns after 1st of April 1987, those investment income part, or in simple word, interest part, exempted. So you know that here in our sum, ETF amount is 5 million. That 5 million include 800,000 investment income, which derived after 1st of April 1987. So you have to less this 800,000 from 5 million. The answer is 4.2 million. That the 4.2 million is taxable. It was explained very clearly. Amount paid on the retirement from any pension fund or the employee trust fund representing the investment income earned for any period commencing on or after the 1st of April 1987 is exempted. So that's why we deduct these 800,000 here. So the total liable retirement benefit is 6 million plus 4.2 million, 10.2 million. Right. Then how these retirement benefits are taxable? So we know that we are going to charge those things under what? Under concessionary rates. So if you remember those concessionary rates, the first 10 million nil, thereafter second 10 million 6, our balance part is 12%. So in our sum, total liable retirement benefit is 10.2 million. So you know that total liable retirement benefit is 10.2. On the first 10 million, nil. On the next 10 million, 6%. So our total amount is 10.2 million. So we have to deduct 10. The first 10 million, nil. So the remaining part is only 200,000. This 200,000 is taxable on 6%. That is 12,000, right? So the tax payable on retirement benefit is 12,000. I think this is very clear for you. This is very clear. Right. Then we can move to next one. Pay as you earn scheme, payee, or advanced personal income tax, APIT. What's that? So if you earn some considerable salary or a sufficient salary, you have to pay tax. You have to pay income tax. But on behalf of that particular employee, who is paying? The employer is paying. ඔයා වෙනුවෙන් ඔයාගේ employer tax එක ගෙවන. හරි. හැබැයි ඔයාගේ පඩියෙන් ඒක කපන. ඒකට කියනවා මොකක් කියලාද? Payee කියලා. Pay as you earn. Okay, වර්තමාන ස්වරූපය තමයි APIT කියන එක. Advanced Personal Income Tax. Right? Now we are going to discuss this very little. So you read this. Income tax payable by an employee from his employment income is deducted by the employer when remuneration is paid and send the tax or deducted to the Department of Internal Revenue. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාට බදු ගෙවන්න කලබල වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. Income tax payable by an employee from his employment income. සේවානියුක්තික ආදායම යටතේ කවුරු හරි සේවකයෙක්ට ගෙවන්න සිද්ධ වන බද්ද deducted by the employer when remuneration is paid. ඔයාගේ salary එක ගෙවන වෙලාවේ ඔයාගෙන් අඩු කරගන්නවා. අඩු කරගෙන and send the tax so deducted to the Department of Inland Revenue. ඔයාගේ පඩිය ගෙවන වෙලාවේ ඔයාගේ වැටුප ගෙවන වෙලාවේ ඔයා ගෙවිය යුතු සේවානියුක්තික ආදායම මත ඔයා ගෙවිය යුතු ආදායම් පත්‍ර ප්‍රමාණය ඔයාගේ salary එකෙන් අඩු කරගෙන ඔයා වෙනුවෙන් ඔයාගේ සේවා යෝජකයා ඒක ගෙවනවා දේශීය ආදායම් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට. එහෙම ගෙවන ක්‍රම දෙකක් තමයි payee කියලා කියන්නේ සහ appit කියලා කියන්නේ. Okay. Right. Then shall we go through this one? So we are not having the answers to this question, but you should calculate. Lalit is a chartered accountant working as the financial controller of the XYZ Private Limited since 2020. The following information relating to his income is available for the year of assessment 2024-25. The basic salary rupees 176,000 per month. Right. දැන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේ basic salary එක tax වෙනවා. එතකොට 176,000 into 12 is taxable. Right. A motor car with a driver. So Lalit is provided a motor car. Lalit දීලා තියෙනවා motor car එකක් with driver. Now you remember that the vehicle benefit that he is enjoying. So shall we go through this? We can go to the beginning of our slide set and we can see. Right here. Any type of vehicle. The vehicle worth is 20,000. And the driver 10,000. Altogether 30,000 per month. This is per month, non-cash benefits per month. So in our example, wait. Motor car with driver. It means 20,000 plus 10,000. That is 30,000 per month. 30,000 into 12 is taxable. The bonus of 120,000 paid in December 2024. So you know that the bonuses are taxable on the cash basis. So here we receive this bonus 120,000 in December 2024. So you know that we are considering here in the first paragraph, year of assessment is given as 2024-2025. So December 2024, within this year of assessment. That's why those, what you call that, this amount is taxable. Right. So this bonus amount is taxable. Right. Then this one. He has been provided with a rent-free residence. The rent paid by the employer to the landlord is 60,000 per month. So this is the actual amount he paid. That's why he means employer paid on behalf of that particular employee. So the 60,000 into 12 is the taxable housing benefit. Next one, life insurance premium of rupees 90,000 relation to Lalit is reimbursed by the employer. So this is not the uniformly applicable thing. The Lalit insurance premium reimbursed by the employer. So 90,000 into 12 taxable. Then the living cost allowance 50,000 per month. Any allowance, if Lalit gives you any allowance, it is taxable. Okay. Okay. Now, this is the end of our session. Now, what we have to do is we have to do certain examples. So, I'll share a few sums or questions, and you have to do it. Before that, I'll do one sum with you. Shall we move to this? Right. So I'll share this tutorial with you. Now I discuss question number one. So later on we can discuss other questions as well. So you read this. Mr. Abhita Deshapriya, a software engineer, has worked at Ultrasoft PLC, a Sri Lankan software company, since 2020. It's very clear what is the designations of Abhita Deshapriya, from which year he is working under Ultrasoft PLC is given. The following information relating to Mr. Abhita Deshapriya is provided in respect of the year of assessment 2024-2025, hereinafter referred to as the year. So it's very clear that our year of assessment is 2024-2025. So now, shall we go ahead? Right. During the year, he has received the following from Ultrasoft PLC. So there are several benefits. You can see it. And we can go to the latter part of the sum and see what we are required to do. So it's very clearly says that calculate the income from employment for the year of assessment 2024-2025 for the tax purpose in Sri Lanka. So here we have to calculate the income from employment. In such a case, normally we use this type of format, right? Under this format, first we have to mention, so from first we have to mention the name of that particular person. So you know that his name is Abhita Deshapriya. Then what we are going to do? Now we are going to do compute his employment income. So that's why I write it as computation of employment income. Then which year? So you know that the year is 2024-2025. So for the year of assessment 2024-2025. So this type of format, this is not compulsory to mention all those things, but this is the way we calculate it, right? Then you can move to your sum, and see each and every benefit, right? The first one is gross salary, rupees 150,000 per month. So you learned last day also. This gross amount is considered for the employment benefit. So that's why we should consider this gross salary, right? Now, the monthly gross salary is 150,000. So since we are considering 12-month period, what we have to do is we have to multiply this amount by 12. So 150,000 into 12 is the salary amount. So what is the amount? 1.8 million. 1.8 million. So this is the first part. Then we can move to the second one. Monthly allowance rupees 30,000. It means other than that gross salary, he received another allowance of 30,000, right? Here, someone might question that. Why this 30,000 not included in the gross salary? So it's something else. But here, you should consider this monthly allowance other than the gross salary. Other than the gross salary. So if it is other than the gross salary, then we have to consider it as other one and in another separate line, 30,000 into 12. So you know that the amount is 360,000. Next, what is the next one? The company has provided him with a motor car, with a fuel for his traveling purpose. So here in this sum, not mentioned about the driver. It means we can assume that company has provided a car with fuel. Car with fuel. Right. Then how it is considered for taxation? You can write down the motor vehicle. Motor vehicle. So you know that if motor vehicle is provided, the monthly amount is 20,000. If driver is provided, the monthly amount is 10,000. If fuel is provided, the monthly amount is 20,000. So here vehicle and fuel provided. So we have to take 20,000 plus 20,000, that is 40,000. So here 40,000 into 12, 40,000 into 12. The answer might be, not might be, the exact answer is 480,000. Then, what is next? The fourth bullet point. During the year, he was hospitalized. And the total bill was 328,000. Please pay your keen attention to the bill amount. The bill amount was 328,000. As for the employment contract, the company has reimbursed rupees 300,000, right? Out of that 328,000 medical bill, 300,000 reimbursed. The company does not have, here the word is does not have an equal terms policy for all employees with respect of medical reimbursement expenses. It means that a uniform scheme is not there. So if it is not there in uniform scheme, then we have to take this 300,000 as medical benefit, and this 300,000 should be taxable. So here, medical benefits. So it's better if you can mention within brackets, not have equal term policy. So in such a scenario only, those medical benefits are taxable, right? So that's why we have to consider this 300,000 for the employment income. Then next one, sales commission received during the year 1 million. So whatever the things received, taxable, the amount is 1 million. Right. Next one. The company has provided an apartment from Mr. Abhita in Colombo. The company pays rupees 100,000 monthly rent for this apartment to the landlord on behalf of him. So it's very easy. You know that this 100,000 amount is taxable, right? So under housing benefits, 100,000 into 12, that is 1.2 million, is taxable. That is then another one. The company, so shall we see the latter part of the sum? Yeah. On behalf of the company, Mr. Abhita participated in the Global Digital Business Forum. It means he went abroad. In April 2024 in Bangalore, India. The company paid 1 million as a reimbursement for the hotel charges and the air ticket charges of this trip. But you know that this is not a private tour. This is 100% official tour. That's why this 1 million is not considered under employment income. But here, if it is so, we have to mention that foreign tour, business visit, not liable. So we should mention that why this is not liable, right? Then no amount here. So we have to add all those figures. 5,140,000. This is the total employment income. Total employment income, 5,140,000. So this is the way how we should calculate. So I'll share the this one, this tutorial with you. Now you have sufficient knowledge regarding the employment income. You can go through this one and calculate the answer for each and every those questions. Right. Uh, okay. Now you can very clearly see myself and everything. So I'm very much regret regarding the things happen due to this bad weather condition. But although those weather conditions and other things are disturbing us, uh, we have to overcome those obstacles. Otherwise, we can't study. Right. Anyway, so I believe that you can understand my session, but if there is any questions or any places to get much clarification, then you can very closely or very freely come back to me and ask or get clarification regarding those questions. Right. So good night to all of you. So we can meet in next session. Good night.